All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Culture Wave Media Network. I am one of your hosts, Mark Jacobino, joined by Vinny Albano.
Hello, hello.
And we are back to talk about DanDaDan Season 2, Episode 8, You Can Do It, Okaroon. We have our big battle with the composers, and it lives up to the expectations that I think we had last week. It's explosive, it's creative, it's colorful while also having like a backwashed palette. It's really, really awesome. I think it absolutely nails the themes of integrating music into the fight, not just with a really cool score in the background, but also the way Okaroon's fighting style excels throughout it. And then we kind of end again with another cliffhanger alluding to another big battle next week.
I echo everything you just said. It is so cool and it's so awesome. This entire episode is a masterclass in how to direct animated anime fight scenes, from the creative choice of, like you mentioned, having selective color, which adds this really cool, creative, zany look to the entire episode. And they've done this with every fight scene where they play with the colors a lot. They have almost a selective palette for every single fight scene and the episode that it exists within. And I love this here. It's so beautiful. It's so dynamic. Conceptually, it's really cool. The animators here on the crew did such an amazing job because you have shots of, for example, Okaroon from a low angle, just he's zooming, and you have all these elements animated in 2D flying all over the place with a forced perspective angle that is very unorthodox. And then you have Aura zipping and zooming around with the camera tracking her, which is insane upon what looked, now I could be wrong, but it looked to be 2D backgrounds.
It looked like it, honestly.
Yeah, which is very impressive, where you're having just such dynamic camera movements. Very rare to see in anime and just animation in general. They nailed it. They nailed it. And I love the ending of the episode leading into whatever's going to happen with Okaroon and Gigi.
Very minimal CGI for the amount of stuff that's going on screen. And there's a great evolution to the battle. You know, it starts on a pretty barren landscape, but then the colors kind of pop more. Each of the composers that they're fighting against gets this really cool kind of painted background and different color palette. And then it transforms into a concert hall where we have the big kind of crescendo of the four giants singing. Was it Ode to Joy at that point?
I believe it was.
It was a cool rendition of Ode to Joy where you have these four huge titans that they have to fight, and then the more they sing, the bigger the choir gets in like a very cool way. They visualize that by having these people, these kind of like shadowy figures, spawn out of them to attack and overwhelm Okaroon and Silky. It's just one of those moments in DanDaDan again this season that had me like, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, this is going absolutely insane. And when Okaroon does finally have that moment where everything kind of connects and he understands what Turbo Granny was trying to teach him with the music blowing up, I was like, this is amazing. I loved it. And Silky was doing her thing. So yeah, DanDaDan again is just really excelling at the unorthodox fight scenes. And that's very refreshing when anime has kind of settled into a safe zone in some, fights. You're just like, okay, hero's going to get kicked down and then the hero's going to come back and win because they really believe in themselves. But DanDaDan kind of flips the script, which is really awesome. Let's talk about maybe the criticism that I have of this episode, which
I'm curious if it's the same criticism I have.
Okay. So there's a couple repeated shots in this episode when Silky's kind of dodging the notes. It's kind of the same thing a couple times. And then when Okaroon's like recognizing the note pattern, it's the same shot that we see. I get like a lot's going on. It feels like a nitpick because everything else is so amazing. But at the same time, it's kind of disappointing to see them reuse like shots. I don't know. Is that what you noticed as well? Or you had something different?
No.
Oh, we got two criticisms.
Something very different.
Okay.
I do agree with you. I think it kind of comes to a budgetary and time issue in anime. It's disappointing to see, but it's not something that really hindered my experience personally.
For sure.
But I do agree with you there.
What do you have?
So my criticism is a little different. DanDaDan, you have teenage characters. I don't really mess with the whole when the battle's over and Aura is getting her clothes trying to get ripped off, and it's very subtle.
Oh yeah,
But
I didn't
it's
even
now
notice
become a common occurrence where beginning of the season, Momo was fighting the predator men of the
family.
Keto family.
Yeah.
And it's weird, it's sus.
Mm-hmm.
I could kind of pass it by for a plot reason because they are predatory evil men.
Mm-hmm.
But then we see it again with like the Evil Eye last episode where Evil Eye just like rips Momo's clothes off, and I'm like, was that necessary?
Yeah.
Was that like that was? And then in this episode, you could argue that maybe they were just trying to like grab her and eat her, but it just feels like it's becoming a common occurrence for like they are fully like grabbing her clothes and trying to like stretch them and rip them off before all those mannequins disappear. That's my criticism. It's psycho weird. This happens in anime all the time. I thought we were past it at this point, but it seems we're not.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it. If I went back, I mean, maybe I'd see it, but I do agree. Like it has been happening, and I definitely noticed it with the Evil Eye episode. I was like, I don't know if that was necessary.
Yeah.
Again, it provided like a sweet moment where Okarun could give her his jacket and like cover her up and like be protective in that way. And the show has kind of established this idea of violence towards women throughout the entire show. Turbo Granny, in like the first couple episodes, we see all those women that were abused and murdered in the woods. That's kind of what caused her. And then we have the, kind of iconic episode at this point with how Silky came to be. It is a reoccurring theme, but I also agree that when the clothes are ripped off with men, it's more of a comedic moment, but when it happens to the girls, it's less of a comedic moment and it's more of a unnecessary piece of the story.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree. Fan service in anime is just, it's honestly disgusting, to be completely honest, but it's just so normalized that people kind of excuse it. But I hope that narrative is starting to change and people don't look for that. And I hope it stops weaseling its way into anime. So I'm glad you brought it up. I did notice it in previous episodes, not this one, but definitely an important conversation to have, especially with a show this big. You want these shows to kind of lead the way. Like Attack on Titan never had any fan service.
Yeah.
JJK doesn't really have fan service. I mean, there's like a couple questionable shots. Vinland Saga, obviously no fan service. Like all these shows kind of should be leading the way. So I'm hoping DanDaDan changes or at least integrates it better into the story.
I wanted to just mention conceptually, I love the giants and their mouth opening. It's like glowing and then all the little people falling out.
Right.
I love that. It reminds me a lot of the painting by the Polish, I can never pronounce his name, but he's titled The Polish Nightmare Artist. And I'll put the painting on the screen now for in editing. He's one of my favorite painters of all time. And it's just this painting of like these creatures climbing into the mouth of this giant. And it reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And it was just super cool. I mean, everything in this episode is so cool. I can't say it enough.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that and seeing if maybe it was an inspiration for the author of DanDaDan. I do want to finish up with the end of the episode, setting up the fight next week with Gigi and Okarun. I do want to come back to a point I made in a previous episode about Gigi and his relationship to Evil Eye still feeling like it's this thing that we don't understand. I feel like they're really riding the coattails of that first introduction of Evil Eye where it's like, feel bad for this character because he was killed hundreds of years ago and he didn't have any friends. But I still want to get more out of why Gigi is so protective of him outside of just having the sad backstory. Like, is there an internal dialogue between them? Because at this point, I'm kind of on the page of everyone else where they're like, can we just exercise this thing and get him out of Gigi? I'm curious, do you agree with that still at this point? And do you think like the fight between Okarun, like the ending of that is going to be, Okarun almost making Evil Eye scared to come out of Gigi, and that's how Gigi can like more easily control him? I'm curious where they go from here.
Yeah, I'm also curious. I don't really have any theories, but I do agree with you. I echo what you said last episode of how we really need more insight, even if it's something little, because we were provided the insight at the beginning of the season, but that was all. And now it's just kind of like being a little repetitive.
Just trust us. They have a close relationship.
Yeah, so I have no idea. I think it's gonna become kind of a domesticated situation again, like Acrobatic Silky and Turbo Granny, where they domesticate the villain in a way. Other than that, I have I have no idea.
Yeah, then they'll be like a super squad of just like all these people with these spiritual entities living inside them, and then they'll finally, I guess, move on to the subterraneans, and that'll be like the next chapter in the plot moving forward. So yeah, I mean, the way they've done battles, I'm really excited to see full powered, or not full powered yet, Okarun, but like upgraded Okarun versus Evil Eye. That should be really sick. I'm almost curious if they do like they subvert expectations and it's almost like a quick battle next week, and we actually don't get this big gigantic thing. I don't know. That's pretty much all I got. This is pretty awesome.
I am very excited. I agree. This is so random. I don't know why it popped in my brain. What if they do like a fusion? I don't know. Like, what if there is a possibility where like you said, eventually we're gonna have a superhero team of supernatural powered people. What if it's like Voltron? What if Evil Eye can mix with Turbo Granny? I don't know. Like,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it just popped in my head now, and if that happens, I'm putting all my money on it.
Nothing would surprise me with this show, so yeah. It definitely could happen. And then Momo's just kind of like the brains, because she doesn't actually have a spiritual entity inside her. She's kind of the brains, but I don't think that's gonna happen, but for your sake I hope it does.
Yeah, I'm very excited for when that time comes and they're all like fully embraced in their powers, how they're gonna work together.
Yeah,
like and that gives a lot of potential for cool fight scenes. If I don't know, they all have their own player, their own role in the fight, and they work together in cool ways. I'm excited, but hopefully that potential is lived up to and not ignored.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see like where this story kind of goes. Is the manga still going on, or has it wrapped up? Okay, so so there's a lot more to still go, but yeah, if that's everything, we can just wrap it up, and we'll be back here same time next week to talk about episode 9. We confirmed that there is 12 episodes this season, so very excited to get to the finale. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a comment below, like the video, subscribe. Check out all of our social media. That'll be in the description below. We want to talk about the show because we're really loving it so far this season, so definitely let's have a conversation in the comments. I've been Mark Jacobino.
And I've been Vinny Albano.
And we'll see you on the next one.
This is The Culture.